Today, we are unpacking a political moment that left many South Africans confused. Why was Julius Malema so unusually soft when questioning Cat Matlala at the parliamentary committee? To understand this, we need to look beyond the surface performance and examine the networks behind the scenes, the spaces where money, policing, procurement, and influence quietly meet. This is not about accusing specific individuals. It is about explaining the logic of political behavior when power structures overlap. Let's start with a simple principle in politics: people do not behave randomly. They behave according to the networks they are embedded in. Cat Matlala operates in a world that is both financially powerful and politically sensitive. His connections reach into police procurement, high-ranking officers, KZN policing structures, and people who influence tenders and logistics in the security cluster. This is a tightly knit ecosystem where information, favors, and access are traded quietly. So when we ask, why did Julius have so much access to Matlala? How was he able to call him directly? The answer must be framed in terms of shared circles. People in these clusters interact because they know the same fixers, the same intermediaries, the same officers, and in many cases, the same funders. That leads us to the first part of the logic: Julius and Matlala most likely move within overlapping networks. Not necessarily as close friends, but as people who operate near the same centers of power. You do not simply summon someone as connected as Matlala out of nowhere. There is usually an existing channel, and that channel is already politically meaningful. Now, let's add a second layer. We know that Matlala reportedly had the capacity to fund Becky Seal's lifestyle. That tells us something important: he is the kind of person who can support high-level political figures. Funding is never neutral. It creates influence, expectations, and a relationship of mutual benefit. If someone has that level of financial reach, it is reasonable to ask, in general political terms, whether other powerful individuals might also have benefited from the same or similar networks. Now we circle back to Julius Malema's behavior in the committee. He is known for being a forceful interrogator. He interrupts, he challenges, he corners witnesses, and he exposes contradictions. But with Matlala, his tone shifted. He was more gentle, more careful, and noticeably more diplomatic. People become soft when the person in front of them is connected to a network they cannot afford to antagonize. That softness can signal respect, caution, or even a quiet acknowledgement of shared interests. Remember, Cat is not just a businessman, he sits inside the security cluster, a world of intelligence officers, tender brokers, procurement pipelines, and people who can either protect you or expose you. So the final piece of the logic is this: in politics, you do not kick down every door. Some doors, you learn to quietly open. Cat Matlala represents that kind of door. Malema's softness becomes easier to understand when we see it not simply as weakness, but as careful navigation by a man who knows the cost of creating new enemies in the security cluster, especially enemies with deep access, deep pockets, and deep memories.